Hi there, friends. I'm Vasco. I'm part of the team behind the first global Scrum Master Summit. If you're a Scrum Master, the Scrum Master Summit is a place to learn, to share, and to meet new friends. We will have lots of live sessions where you can meet and network with other Scrum Masters from all over the globe. So make sure you check it at bit.ly/SM Summit and the numeral 21. That's bit.ly/SMSUMMIT21. We have 7 amazing keynotes or more, as we are still organizing the conference as I record this, and 8 tracks that feature people like you and thought leaders sharing their insights and knowledge to help you become an awesome Scrum Master. So once again, check it out at bit.ly/SM Summit 21. That's all lowercase, all one word, SM Summit and the numeral 21. I'll see you on the virtual conference floor. All right, now on to the show. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our Success Thursday this week with Kamal Hans. Hi, Kamal. Welcome back.
Hi, Vasco. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So on Thursdays, we talk about success. But before we dive into all of what that means, share with us, what's your favorite retrospective format and why?
It's like kind of the retrospectives are good, but my most favorite that I always lean on is 4Ls. That one is liked, lacked, learned, and longed for. And if I need to shorten it, I generally use liked, lacked, and longed for or learned concept part of it. The reason I like this particular retrospective format is because it's all about learning. And when we are talking about inspecting what happened in the past, what we want to do is we want to learn from it and then come out the areas that where we can improve. So that's the main reason I like this particular retro format.
So how do you see this working well for you? Like, what are the dynamics that this particular format generate that help you to help the teams that you work with to inspect and then, of course, to find those action points?
So it straightway gives you an idea, that when you are talking about things that happened or things that you liked in the last sprint or the duration, whatever duration that you want to set it up. So liked part is very famous, kind of a very powerful, and then they can talk about those things. And then it's easy to relate with them, like, oh, I like this, oh, I like that. So it's all of those ones of feelings comes into the picture. So that's the part that I liked about it. Then you talked about in terms of longed for or lacked. What are the things that happened that was not very well? Not that you have the craving for it because you thought that we missed those things. So when you are talking about those things, it gives you again the more feelings and then more craving about it. So once you are craving about those things, so suddenly your mind is already turning up into the action items, and then you are already committing to those items that when you are talking about the lag. And then, of course, the learning straight away, it gives you the idea that, oh, I learned that thing that doesn't work. Oh, I learned that if I deploy my code in this way, it does not work. So it gives you the idea for the other people. They can learn from your mistakes, and then you can document it. These are our learnings from these mistakes that we did.
Yeah, so it's also the ability to share everyone's mistakes and not just, what I learned, but also what all of the other team members learned, and sharing that, kind of creating maybe a knowledge base for the team as we go. Great retrospective format. For sure, I'll put a link on the show notes for people to find a facilitation guide for that. Now we turn our attention to success, which of course is the focus of the work that we do. And for that, we need to first define it. So, Kamal, share with us, what's your definition of success for the role of the Scrum Master?
I think the role of the Scrum Master, the definition of success is very simple in my terms. The person is helping improve the team. And if he's really helping improve the team, he will be able to tell I have improved these 10 things in the last 1 year in this team. That's the key success criteria for a Scrum Master in my definition.
So when you do that work, when you work as a Scrum Master, when you work with other Scrum Masters, how do you keep track of how you have been able to improve the team, or how you have been able to help the team improve? Like what do you do? Do you have a particular approach to it? Do you collect stuff from retrospects? How do you do it?
Of course, that when you are doing the retrospective, the retro action items are the areas that you want to improve. But anytime that you take it, we have all the time the product backlog improvement items. So the similar way, I generally suggest a practice that we keep the improvement backlog for our way of working. So the same way you have the product backlog, same way you have the way of working backlog. And depending on the priority, when we are kind of planning our sprint, we plan the improvement backlog items also along with the sprint. I'll give you an example here. We are saying that we need to be more predictable in terms of our work delivery. So how do we do that is, of course, that many times there is a lot of support work coming in, and we could not able to deliver the amount of work that what we supposed to deliver in this particular sprint, which is making us always look kind of that we are not predictable. So how we can do that? So once we put that story into our backlog, now we are mindful about taking the support work. What is the most important support work that we need to take? So is it really good, or is it some bug? One customer out of 1,000 customers had it seen it one time, and the effort on that bug is 2 weeks that we need to put it there. So having those kind of a conversation really helps. And this is again kind of in my practice that I suggest to everyone is keep an improvement backlog. Coming back to the same previous episodes that we talked about is the deliberate practice. So if you want to get into the deliberate practice, you need to know what are the 5 things that I need to improve in the next 6 months.
Yeah, absolutely. And through that also we are able to keep track of what has changed, and of course regularly reflect on are we actually as a team working on the things that matter in terms of improvement, the things that have impact on, whatever that might be the goal. Predictability is one goal, but there might be, quality, or providing more timely dependencies to other teams that depend on us, responding quicker to customer requests, whatever the goal might be, right? So because every team has a different goal. In your experience, what keeps teams from having that improvement backlog?
I think in terms of engineering teams, if we go back to our kind of the old way of thinking, engineers still think that 80% of the time they want to spend on coding. Only 20% of the time they want to talk about the way of working or improvements, that how the things are happening around them. So that's the model I think that we have all very familiar with, where everything is like kind of a cooked and everything spoon fed given to us. We just sit on the computer and then code. But in actual environment and the actual business agility or org agility we are talking about, seems like we need to spend way more time optimizing actually what we are need to build it, what is the value that we need to build it to make sure, and then spend less time just kind of working on it or coding on it. So that's the kind of a challenge. Some senior engineers understand that, but ultimately, that I was also engineer, I used to say the same way, that don't bother me. My job is to code. So let me code. So
Give me the specs.
Give me the spec, tell me where those files are. So
yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that. I very recently came across this quote that I knew from before, that says that basically if I had an hour to cut the tree down, I would spend 55 minutes sharpening the axe and 5 minutes cutting down the tree, right? And very often we forget that how we work is a critical tool in our toolbox. It's not only the compiler or the editor or the libraries we're using or the whatever test tools we use. It's also how we work, how we communicate. The moments we have to share information and to get feedback are very important. So definitely, if you have that opportunity, remind the teams of that idea of sharpening the axe, of becoming better at what you do constantly so that it's easier and more pleasurable to do the work that we need to do. That was a great story. Thank you for sharing that, Kamal.
Welcome.
Part of a successful Scrum Master job is to help the product owner. Tomorrow we explore that critical role in Scrum, the product owner role. Tune in to learn about product owner anti-patterns, what you can do to help the product owner, and a real-life example of what a great product owner is and what made it so. Tomorrow on our Friday Product Owner episode. See you tomorrow. We really hope you liked our show. And if you did, why not rate this podcast on Stitcher or iTunes? Share this podcast and let other Scrum Masters know about this valuable resource for their work. Remember that sharing is caring.